Glad you all could make it tonight. My name is Robert Clayton. I was born in 1887 in a little community up the road here called Lewisburg. Went to Princeton High School, and upon graduating went to Pennsylvania to work in the steel industry down that way. I worked as a steel mechanic for a while, where upon having a terrible accident I lost most of my hearing. I ended up as a tailor and a haberdasher there. And Uncle Sam called me to service during the First World War. They had a new branch of service at the time called United States Army, U.S. Army Air Service. They were asking for volunteers, and so I did. It was an experimental time, but it was a good time. We lost several good men, but we were instrumental in helping to win that terrible war. What that accident working in the steel industry left of my hearing, the Army took the rest of it. After completing my tour of duty, I came back to Princeton. There wasn't really anything left of me and left for me in Pennsylvania. My wife having died of a automobile accident. So I came back to Princeton and married Frances Bridges from over in Trigg County. She gave me 2 sons. I worked as an auto mechanic, and then later opened an auto supply store here on Main Street and worked there for a while. In the year 1926, we'd gone to Paducah for a day trip. Coming back about 8 o'clock that night, we stopped at Eureka, just up from Dykelsburg, to catch the ferry across the Cumberland River, come back home. And parked my car on an incline pointing down toward the ferry landing. Got out and set the brake. Put a rock under the wheel in case the brakes failed. Went down and did my business with the ferryman. Came back up the hill, I walked past the rock and I kicked it out from in front of that wheel. And I didn't really see it right at first, but my car started rolling. I hollered at Frances to grab the boys, and she grabbed the oldest one, fell to the side. I watched in horror. My car rolled down to the landing over the edge of the embankment, 15 feet of water. My youngest son, Harold, still in the car. Harold drowned that night. Took us 4 hours to find the body, in spite of our best efforts. We come on back to Princeton. Harold buried here, just a few months old at the time. We came on back to Princeton. We got on with our life. Had a couple of other children. Frances gave me 2 more boys, 4 boys in all. Today we went to Bowling Green. Another trip. Come back. It's kind of late at night. It was about 10 o'clock and ran out of gas. It happens to everybody. I looked up and saw a farmhouse a ways off, so told Frances just stay put, and the boys just stay put, and I'd go ask for permission to use telephone, call for assistance. I walked up to the house and knocked on the door, knocked and called, and couldn't raise anybody. So I walked back to the car and told Frances about it. I said, well, I think somebody was at home because nobody answered the door, but I saw a light on inside. I think I'm going to go back. One of my sons, Bob, he was 4 years old at the time. He wanted to go with me, and I didn't see any harm. So we walked back up to the house. My loss of hearing and a series of unknown events helped create my demise that night. You see, the first time that I went to the house, somebody did answer me. Somebody did inquire who I was and what I wanted. And not being able to hear him, I didn't answer. The house belonged to Mr. and Mrs. Edward Ladd. And unbeknownst to me, when I I returned to the house, she was on the phone frantically calling neighbors saying that somebody had come upon their porch and knocked on their door with the intent of doing them harm and robbing them. Didn't know it at the time, but Mr. Ladd wasn't too fond of his neighbors, and I think the feeling was mutual. Anyway, Miss Ladd was on the phone when Bob and I walked up into the yard. When we got closer to the house, Mr. Ladd stuck a shotgun out of an open window and shot me in my left side. I took all the shot. Bob wasn't hurt. He never did get over that night. He was 4 years old at the time. The shot passed through my left side into my heart, and I died almost instantly. Frances sold the store, took the boys, moved back to Tree County where she was from. Mr. Ladd was charged with manslaughter. That's another story. My life was framed by 3 tragic accidents, all involving an automobile. The loss of my first wife, the loss of my infant son, and then me. Series of unfortunate events, but such is life. We live, we die, we laugh, we cry, we succeed, and we fail, and then we die, and then we meet our Maker. You walked around here tonight, and you listened to these stories. Thank you for coming. Some were happy, some were tragic, but all of them interesting. I want to ask you, don't wait. Somebody has the opportunity to stand in a ghost walk and tell your story. Because they may not do it. Have an open ear to listen to your neighbors, your friends, your family. Listen to their stories. Have a mouth to speak and tell your stories to everybody that'll listen. Again, I want to thank you for coming. Listen to our stories tonight. I hope you had a pleasant time, and we invite you back next year.